Hello boys and girls. This is a video lesson on descriptive language. After watching this lesson, I'd like you to learn a strategy for converting stated or told words that you write on a page into a more descriptive form. So again, you'll be doing some type of conversion and learning a conversion after you watch this lesson. How can I take words that are just told or stated, and how can I make them sound more descriptive? And how could I make them sound like I'm actually showing something and not just telling something? Descriptive language is language that describes and shows, not just tells or states. Here are words from each of your poems, your Where I'm From poems, that I found, and I felt that these words could be converted or changed into more descriptive language. You can take a look and find maybe well, all of these words come from at least one of your poems. So, you can notice these words and you can say, oh, that word's in my poem, or that word's in my poem. And I really feel like all of these words can be written more descriptively. And I'm going to actually show you an example of how I take words like this and how I write them more descriptively. There's a strategy that I use. I think to myself, I'm going to be showing you two student examples. The names are not on the student examples, but you probably, after watching or while watching this video, will recognize them as yours. So, I read one of your poems, and one of your poems begins like this. I am from trees, from blue skies. Okay, sure. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's what it is. This person is writing that he or she is from trees or from blue skies. The words trees and skies simply just state, I am from a tree, I am from a sky. They don't really show me what a tree, I don't really get to picture anything in my head when I read this, and when I read I am from blue skies, I don't really picture anything in my head. I just see the words. The goal would be for us to try to use language that is more descriptive so that when we read this, we can actually picture the trees and picture the skies. The goal is for us to use language that's more descriptive so that we really understand what are these trees and what is this sky. We can understand what it is. So let me show you how I did this. I changed I am from blue trees, I changed I am from trees from blue skies to this. This is my version. I am from the tall creatures that grow from the ground, green, yellow, red, sometimes bare, from the blue above that never ends and always surrounds us. My version is more descriptive. Uh, just so you know, I do write poetry myself, and I've written a lot of poetry, hundreds and hundreds of poems, and I have lots of experience writing, and so that helps me. But I think this is the strategy that I use, you can use it as well. So let me show you. How do I do this? So I thought to myself, what do I think of when I think of a tree? I'm going to focus on that first non-descriptive word. What do I think of when I think of a tree? I think of something that is tall, something living. If it's living, it grows, like a creature. I thought of something that grows from the ground. I know that trees have leaves and that they change different colors, and all of these things that I thought of when I thought of a tree, I put into my poem. I thought of something tall, so I wrote, I am from the tall. I thought of something living, like a creature, so I wrote, I am from the tall creature. And I thought of something that grows from the ground, so I even wrote that. I am from the tall creatures that grow from the ground. And finally, I know that leaves are on trees. I know that the leaves change colors, and so I wrote, in addition to that, I am from the tall creatures that grow from the ground. I added green, yellow, red, sometimes bare, like in the winter when there are no leaves. What about that sky thing? So this is the stated version. I am from trees, from blue skies. Well, when you write you're from blue skies, you're just saying and stating and telling that you're from blue skies. But we really don't know what that means. We don't understand what it means, and we don't get a full picture. What do I think of when I think of sky? So the strategy is this. The strategy that I'm using is I'm asking myself, what do I think of when I'm thinking of this stated word? So when you go to change your words into more descriptive phrases, what you have to do is think of what you think when you think of this word. So when I thought of skies, what do I think of when I think of the sky? I think of something blue, something that's above us, and that is hard to tell where it starts or ends, and it always surrounds us. So those are the things that I think of when I think of the sky. And I put that into my poem. Instead of writing, I am from blue skies, I wrote, I am from the blue above. Because that's what I think of when I think of a sky. It's above us. Uh, that never ends. When I think of a sky, I think of that it's hard to tell where the sky begins or ends. And I always think that the sky is all around us, even though it's kind of above us, it's still around us. So I thought of all those things, and instead of just writing skies, I put down those words in my poem because that's what I think of when I think of sky. We'll do one more example. This is from another one of your classmates' poems. It could be from your poem if you are the writer of this poem. Um, this student writes, I am from clothes and shoes, different styles, brand and designs. I am from a book. As the words make sense, you reflect on yourself. I really like these lines the student wrote. This is what the student wrote. Brand and designs. That's being specific. And I really like this line. As the words make sense, you reflect on yourself. That's descriptive. You're describing what the words do to you. You're describing that shoes do have different brands and designs. You're being specific. But I did change the words clothes and book. So the strategy again is to think about what you think of when you think of these regular, plainly expressed, stated, or told words. Clothes and book. What do you think of when you think of clothes? What do you think of when you think of book? If you can think of what you think of when you think of these words, you're going to be able to change them to a language that's more descriptive. So here's my descriptive version. I am from fabric, material, handmade, factory made, wool or cotton, a store's warmth, and shoes different styles, brand and designs. I am from a wrapping of paper with letters and phrases. As the words make you sense, you reflect on yourself. So how do I do this? The strategy that I'm using to convert stated words um, or told words into more descriptive language is I'm thinking of what I think of when I think of those words. What do I think of when I think of clothes? Well, when I think of clothes, I think of a certain kind of fabric that could be made from different material. I thought of how clothes can be handmade or made in a factory, and these are the things I put in my poem. I am from fabric, material, handmade, factory made. Different material, wool or cotton. I also actually thought that clothes are kind of like what keeps a store warm, like they keep us warm, a store's warmth. What about with a book? What did I think of when I thought of a book? When I think of a book, what do I think of? I think letters. So many letters that form words or phrases on pages, bound together like the wrapping of a gift. Well, if you think about a book, it's a binding of paper. It's like it all comes together like you put a gift together when you gift wrap it. Um, and I wrote in my poem, in my version, I am from a wrapping of paper with letters, because that wrapping is like the binding of a book with letters and phrases. So, these are different versions, phrases and lines in our student poetry. I'm from cereal and eyeglasses. I'm from uh, I'm from going to my neighbor's house to play. I'm from curly hair. I'd like you in class on Monday to convert the highlightings that I've highlighted in your poems, the words that I think are just plainly stated, or the words that are, um, just told to us. I'd like to convert that to a more descriptive language using the strategy. And again, the strategy is this. The way you convert just regularly stated words like clothes and book, or regularly just told words like trees and skies, the way you convert them to more descriptive language is by thinking to yourself, what do I think of when I think of these words? All right. Thanks. Hopefully you watch this lesson, and Monday's work will come that much more easily for you and successfully. Thanks. Bye. Oh, by the way, respond to the question at the end of this lesson on the Google Classroom. Thank you. Bye.